Hey everybody, Luis Espaillat here from Nashville, Tennessee. What's the best way to record bass? Should we go direct? Should we mic a cab? Should we do both? A lot of people will probably tell you or will default to the mentality of both, obviously is better, just because it gives you more tonal options. My experience though has been, depends on the situation. And it really depends on, sometimes you might go into a situation where you don't have the ability to mic a cab and you're strictly going direct. Direct has been one of those things where it's such a standard thing that everybody goes direct at some point or another, or takes direct in conjunction with the cab. Very rarely have I seen where it's just a mic'd cab and amp by itself without the direct. So that being said, when I've been asked by some more beginner players in this category, and they've asked, well, what should I do? I've always told them to go ahead and try to get the best tone possible going direct, because you're going to find yourself with that first and foremost more often than not. So try to get your tone as best as you can with the direct sound and structure your tone based on that. Also, when you do that and you have a combination of the direct and the amp, you're feeding a really good tone already to the amp. So what the amp is doing is just coloring what you already have as your direct and that pure sound. So that's kind of my answer when it comes to that. It's really, it's always nice to have both, because that way you have options. A lot of times when I record remotely for people, I'll give them both. I'll send them both tracks, a direct sound and an amp, so they can blend to their taste. But the amp sound actually is a version of the direct just going through an amp. So you know if your tone is pure from the direct, it's going to be really good for the amp as well. So there you go. Hope everybody's doing great and hope to see you guys soon. Take care.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Mark Corradetti. It's really early. Sorry for the crappy lighting, but it's like about 5 in the morning. I got to get up early. I got to go to a gig pretty soon here. This week's question was really cool. I thought a lot about it, about how do you prefer to record, and what are you expected to do and things like that. Well, that's a really loaded question, so there's a lot of things to consider. First of all, I mean, you need a bass that sounds good, no hum, good cables, good connections and things. Is it better to mic it or go direct? It's great to go direct because it goes directly to the board. But sometimes miking a cab is really good. I can recommend the way I do it. I usually do a good signal of both. I send a signal of mic'd amp as well as direct. And that seems to do the trick pretty well because they can combine it. But the best way is the way the producer wants it. So the way they set it up, you can offer suggestions and try different things. But a good blend in the mix is, I find, really, really terrific. So if the engineer or the producer wants you to play, all on the front pickup or all on the back, whatever. Basically, the bottom line is do whatever they want and do what the song wants. That's the right way. The way I prefer, again, is a good mix of both, with a good preamp and just a good, strong, clear, non-humming signal. Try not to get your wavelength too high. I try not to go above -12. I believe -18 is equal to 0 in analog. But that aside, I think the right answer is if you're being told what to do and you're being paid to, play, do it the way the engineer and producer want it done. That's normally the right way. Again, you could suggest, mixing a mic signal with a direct signal. That's fine. But In the end, it's whatever the music calls for. It's a great way to experiment and see what you like, so that when you have your own music and your own calls on what to do, then you can make a decision. So that's my take. A good preamp, no hum, good cabling, a good working bass, and don't forget your hands. Try to eliminate as much fret noise as possible, and just clean, unadulterated bass. So that's my take so far, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye.
Hi, Roy Vogt here, and I'm coming to you from my home studio out in just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And the question this time is, what is your favorite way to record bass? Through an amplifier or through a DI? And, in 2020, 2021, we are now in working from home mode. So I'll just give you a little indication of my signal chain. The very first thing is I'm a PreSonus artist, so the first two parts of my components are Studio One, which is a great DAW, and then also I have a Studio Live AR12C. This goes directly into my computer, and there's two lines here that, if I wish, I can just go ahead and plug a passive bass guitar in and record great. However, I have many, many choices. I've been recording for a long time. I've been a studio bassist in Nashville since 1980, so I've gone through a lot of choices. And I'll just show you my work from home choices here right now. If I don't know and I'm traveling light, I use the Eden WTDI, pretty decent sounding thing. You just have to watch the gain stages. I have two for my upright Fishman Platinum Pre's. One of them is specifically for bass. I use that a lot for upright. I have used it before with electric. It's been fine. My current favorite is right over here, and yes, I know my office is messy. I've been teaching from home as well. And this is the Nightwalker bass guitar tube pre, and this is from my friend Cliff Latshaw at Nightwalker Bass, and it is a great vintage sounding unit. I've been through all these other things. I've been through a lot of modeling pre's. I've been through a lot of everything from an Eden Navigator, which was a wonderful preamp, to also my DNA amplifier preamp works great. This is really good because I play a lot of active basses, so I don't need a lot of EQ that isn't on the bass already. This is a great one to work with, and it's got a nice overdrive if I need it. Most of the time, processing, compression, and all that I just do in the box, which most people do these days. So that's it. That's my recording rig as it is. There's a wall of basses right there. There's my 5-string Carvin pre-Kiesel active jazz bass. There is my Jocko fretless that's spec'd out like Jocko's, with the exception of ebony board, 2 extra frets. But it's also the jazz bass pickups are in 60s placement. And there's my oldest and most venerable Carvin LB76 fretless. So you get a little bit of a bonus of a guided tour of a few of my recording basses there along my 6 strings. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe. I will talk to you all soon.
Hey all, hope the video finds you safe and healthy. Talking a bit about recording bass, comparing direct, meaning through some sort of direct box straight into the computer these days mostly, and or recording an amp and anything related. I do a lot of recording of myself, and 99% of it is direct through a Demeter rig and straight into my computer. Of all the sessions I've done, I've only had a few experiences where I recorded an amp, so most of my experience has been direct. I do also record a lot of other bass players, And that's, again, been 99% direct. With bass, unlike guitar, that works pretty well, is simple, and translates very well. A couple things come to mind. Experiment, try out all, and try what you're capable of doing with your rig and your environment. Using headphones is not fun for bass players. We are so used to feeling bass that hearing bass without feeling it is sometimes unsatisfactory and a little unnerving, quite frankly. So one suggestion is to, if you're going to go direct, split the signal and mult some of it into a little amp that you can monitor by your side, even though you're not recording it. That way you can feel what you're doing as well as hearing it. One pitfall I find to when I record other bass players is that they often send, meaning adjust on their bass or their preamp or whatever, way too much bass because they're trying to get it to feel like what they feel when they play live, and that's just not going to happen. And it makes a mess for the engineer if you're sending way too much bass EQ balance. So you have to learn to adjust and be, satisfied with not feeling it like you would live. Recording is challenging. It's intimidating because it's forever, if you will. And often we don't play as well as we do when we play live. So it does become even more problematic when you can't feel the bass. So I try to monitor through monitors the best I can, ask to be in a control room if possible, and avoid headphones. Not always possible, and some headphones sound great, of course. So I say one is not better than the other, and certainly experiment, see what you find works well. You can reamp if you record the bass directly. You can also what they call reamp, which means after you record it, bring it out of the computer through your reamping device and go through an amp and then record that. That's possible, and people do that all the time. So direct is obviously the simplest, less room acoustics and so on and so forth, but obviously recording an amp does bring another element into it, which may be desirable. Good luck. Record a lot. That's the best way to get better at it. And see you soon.
Hello, bass family, and all my fellow F-Clef fanatics and friends. Since this week's question is specifically dealing with how we record, I thought it best to do it in the studio, where I'll be doing some remote recording for a German artist next week. And I'm still at a point in my career where I don't have enough experience to just know what I need for any given thing. I'm still listening to people's advice who have had years and hundreds of albums under their belt. And for this question, using a direct box versus preamp or all that, I'm going to take my answer and what I've been doing from Mr. Stu Ham, who has had a very long list of recording in his career. And when we do the tracks here, I both run a DI and a direct out from my amplifier. So we have two distinct channels designated to the bass line. And when mixing and mastering it, which will be done in Germany, they can have two signals and two bass lines for just basically covering my butt, so that when we have everything done, there's going to be plenty of options to go through the files and get what's best of the bass lines. So until I discover a better way of doing it, I'm going to stick to Mr. Stu Ham's method. And as a matter of fact, don't look in next month's Bass Player magazine, but I am working on developing a preamp that will be primarily used for recording. It will be a clean signal DI with a preamp that has the kind of EQ settings and variables that I prefer for my tone. So I think a lot about this, and I'm still studying what the real pros have to say. So I look forward to next week's question and watching the video of this and get advice from people like Roy who have done a lot more recording than have I. So everybody stay safe, and I'll see you next week.
Hey everyone, this is Maurice from Los Angeles. I hope all of you are well. And Everything Bass is asking, what is our preferred way to record our bass? And I am a DI person. I like the simplicity of the signal chain of a DI going into the board or going into the computer. And the software and technology today gives you a lot of choices of tone shaping and EQing and compression, and even plugins that distort and wah and all that kind of stuff. So it is a pretty convenient system nowadays, and I like it. I remember bringing amps and cabinets and stuff in the 80s when we recorded to analog tape studios, and that was fun, but I definitely don't miss it. I love my amp sounds, go Aguilar, but the convenience of the DI and what it produces is perfect for me. So that's what I like. Alrighty, people, I hope this is helpful, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye.
So yeah, recording bass. There's no one answer. It's very conditional. If I was to give you, when I really, this is the final track. It's not a scratch demo where I'm just trying to throw out some ideas down. When this is the one I'm keeping, I'll go direct, but also mic my cab. And I just like mixing both of them. It's just something that, I was lucky enough to start doing sessions really early in my bass playing career. And I was able to see people do it different ways. And what I always liked was the flexibility of having a signal right from your DI, go right to a strip in the mixing board, and then right from a mic on my amp going to the mixing board. I've even been on some sessions where they put a mic way far away as they could, and a mic close on the cab, and making sure to keep everything in phase and stuff. And then blending the direct with the mic signal and stuff. There's options. So I like that. Now, with that said, when I'm just kind of getting ideas down, I just go direct. A lot of times I'll just take my tone hammer amp, take the DI out of the front of it, not even have a cabinet plugged in, and go into a strip, and that's it. Because I don't want to lose any kind of creative process, or more in the songwriting or the ideas phase of the production. I don't want to be caught up by any kind of problems or take time to mic. So there's two conditions I do there. So the only other thing I can say is, man, save your work. Constantly save your work. If you're new to home recording and you're excited about it, that's great. It is so much fun, and you will become a better player by listening back to your tracks isolated and hearing where it can be improved. But it's soul crushing when your computer decides to reboot in the middle, or whatever the goblins might be. Save your work constantly, as often as you can. For a while there, when I was new to home recording, I put Post-its around just saying, save your work, because there's so many weird things can happen, and you just hate to it's just frustrating. So, and remember that there's no recording system in the world that can clean up bad technique, that can clean up, noise and stuff like that. So make sure that you take time, look at your bass. Do the pickups generate hum? Maybe the room where you're recording in has fluorescent lights or something, and your pickups are not hum canceling. You spend a little extra time, upgrade your bass where you can. Get the best cabling. Just really take care of your signal going into the DAW, and you're gonna have a better experience. So those are just some of my thoughts. Man, I love home recording. It's a great way to lose a big block of your day. You just don't even know. You start recording and then you look up and 6 hours have passed and you haven't eaten or drank or anything. It's kind of cool to get that focused in on something. Make sure that if you have any questions about home recording, if you're having any issues, put them in the comments below, and any one of us from the panel here can chime in and help you out. All right? Hey, enjoy it. red light record, bud. See ya.